Okay, you guys, one more video and then I'll try to stop for the day. But I wanted to talk to you about catheters really quick. I use diapers, as you know. I also use catheters, which I think there are many pros and cons of using a catheter. A catheter is basically a straw. Like sometimes people, whether through illness, injury, whatever, like sometimes people can't void their bladder, they can't empty their bladder naturally, you can't pee by yourself, and so a straw, a catheter, basically gives you the ability, instead of pushing your urine out through internal things, like I call you guys who can walk, I call you mind movers, like you have a superpower, because I can't move my legs with my mind. I can't just think about my leg and then all of a sudden, you know, I can't want to stretch and then it stretches. Like I can't do that. That's a superpower to me. But so a catheter, if you can't pee by yourself, then you can insert a catheter. Like you put lube on it, you usually clean the area with iodine and everything, and then you put lube on it. You can insert a catheter into your urethra, and the urine will void itself out of your bladder. You can empty your bladder. Now, some of the things I like about catheters are that I can fully empty my bladder. Like I realized before, I've worn diapers for a really long time. Because I kept peeing on myself, and then I finally realized diapers are good, and so I wore diapers. But then I would pee on myself, and then I would change my diaper and use the bathroom and sit there for like an hour sometimes on the toilet just trying to be even more, and then I would try to squeeze every little bit out that possible, and then I would transfer back into my chair and all that stuff, and then like 5-10 minutes later, I might pee on myself. I would be like, what? You know, I just peed. Like, seriously, this is horrible. And it would be a big dramatic upset mess. Well, since I've been using catheters, I've realized that when my bladder empties itself naturally, whether, like, if I pee on myself, my bladder doesn't fully empty. It's usually emptying just a little bit of it, because now that I use catheters too, even if I pee on the diaper or pee in the toilet or whatever, like sometimes I don't pee in the diaper and I transfer onto the toilet, and all of a sudden I pee, and like that's great. I think, okay, well I just peed. But then now I'll use a catheter just to make sure I don't have any more pee in my bladder that needs to come out. And every single time there's more pee in my bladder. And so that's one of the pros of catheters. You can fully empty your bladder, because I wasn't before, and I don't naturally at all. Like if I pee naturally, it's not fully emptying my bladder. And so one of the downsides about catheters, you do have to be clean. You have to be sanitary, of course, and like, I guess that's not a downside, but people who use catheters on a regular basis, you can get infections, but I think I've gotten less infections since I've been using the catheter, honestly, than I did before I started using catheters. And I think that one of the reasons that is because I'm able to fully empty my bladder now. And so I don't have like urine just sitting in there all the time. I think that's part of why my kidneys got infected, my bladder got infected. It's not good when you have urine sitting in your bladder for an extended period of time. You know, so I think that's good. But anyway, so some of the cons of catheters are they're kind of hard. Like sometimes it's really hard for me to get it in there. To insert it, like I can't see where it's going. I might have limited sensation in my fingers and in my body from just everything, so from the MS, and so it's difficult for me sometimes to actually get the catheter in, and that can be really frustrating. It is, I mean, sometimes I've sat there for a couple hours trying to Another nice thing about catheters, you can use them in a chair. You don't have to transfer, which saves me, obviously, because most of my falls occur when I'm transferring from one seat to another. And so being able to cath in the chair saves me from a transfer if I can do it. Sometimes it's really frustrating because sometimes I try and I reposition my chair all sorts of ways and I still can't do it. But that's a nice thing about using catheters.